Dr. Nalini Avinash Wagmare, working as an associate professor at Tilak Maharashtra Vidyapith, Pune. Today's our topic is related to nature of history. Various authors given a different opinion about the nature of history. A historian now deeply studies the past with a view to properly understand the present historical activity. Thus, includes to get at the truth, to objectively know the past, and to evaluate and explain the significance of past events and happenings. The function of the historian is to neither to love the past, nor to condemn the past, nor to be free from the past, but to master the past in order to understand and its bearing on the present. So, history is the study of past through the available sources. The analysis and the interpretation of the facts help the historian to present his version of the past. Thus, the past is reconstructed through the interpretation of the historian. Hence, the nature of history depends on the approach of historian. So, various authors given a different opinion about the nature of history. As we saw the meaning of history, again the definitions of history, various authors, scholars, historian given opinion about the meaning of history in the same way, nature of history also scholars give their opinion about it. Let's see the one by one. E.H. Card advised the readers that study the historian before you begin to study the facts. He argued that any account of past is largely written to the agenda and social context of one writing it. Obviously, the historian's way of looking at the past presents the nature of history differently. The nature of history is often proposed in debates on the process and the making of history. Thus, the nature of history is very complex and it is dynamic one. Historical activity involves the three different types of functions which should be performed simultaneously. The first is to get at the truth, to know the entire human past as it actually happened, and to be sure that solid facts are at hand. The second job of historian is to interpret the facts, to access, to evaluate, and to explain their significance. The third task is to present the ideas in a clear and attractive manner. These three functions make the historian a scientist to gather facts, a philosopher to interpret them, and a literature to express them. So, need of rewriting history. It becomes thus necessary for history to be rewritten from time to time. The biases are bound to be there because a historian is to interpret past events in the background of social, philosophical, religious, and economic ideas of the age in which he is living in. That is, he is to interpret the past while working in the past. Since past events are reevaluated from time to time in the light of new developments taking place in the present, therefore, that practically means rewriting history. For examples, archaeology, statistics, gropology, radiography, psychology, and even polar analysis have brought to light new facts about the past. That's why these subjects now included in history and taken their help and rewriting history started. Another point to be noted is the influence of the historian of the education and social standards of the civilization in which he lives. Even his style and subject matter is greatly influenced by the society for which he is writing. Herodotus' epic age, storytelling by Bury, modern age, St. Augustine comes in Middle Age, basis on religion. Thus, history reflects the main spirit of the age in which it is written. So, the Herodotus in the ancient age, the epic style of story writing is there. Then John Bury was in modern age, so his everything he wanted to scientific make history. Saint Augustine comes in the medieval age, so religious natural influence at that time the writing was going on. So medieval Indian history we find the religious based history. So the age is more impact on the historian writing the history. There is a continuity of growth and development in human society. This growth takes a definite trail. It always implies the development of something complex out of something simple. So history repeats itself and never repeats itself. The first thing while we are studying the nature of history, so few are agreed that history repeat itself, then others says no, history not repeat itself. Involved in the nature of historical, there are few aspects involved in the nature and historical facts. These are repetition of history. This says that few scholars think that history repeats itself, whereas others thinks refuse it. This idea vehemently. The truth is that both these ideas are partially true. History repeats itself in the sense that things of the world are the same as the time, but the ways are different every time. They point out that history is a witness that the people have been following some common pattern in life. Example, soon after a war, a little remorse grips may that be Kalinga War of Ashoka of ancient India or the Second World War of our times. So similarly, might can never become right. Example, the glory of Alexander or Julius Caesar or the Napoleon or Hitler has been transitory. Sooner or later, the aggressor has been brought to account. Thus, the main springs of human actions have never changes in history. Then history repeats itself and history never repeats itself. They pointed out that history is a witness that the people have been following some common pattern in life. For example, soon after a war, little remorse grips those who oppose the view that history repeats itself. Contend that change is the law of nature, and even if apparently two events seem alike, they are not really the same. For history is a record of unique, individualistic, and remarkable events. If historical events are repeated, the problem of growth, development, and progress would not arise. It is accepted that history repeats, then it will mean a check on progress and development of both man and society and civilization. The noblest of art appeals both to the intellectual and to the feelings. Every work of art is unique in its own right, whether it is Greek or Roman or Indian. Even Indian art, Chalukyan art is different from Hoysala. So Bahmani art is different from Mughal art. So here we can say history never repeat. They also pointed out that development lies in differentiation and not in uniformity. But the whole controversy appears more or less unnecessary. The fact is that change is basic character of history, but permanent change is gradual. History does not repeat itself. In the say, its supporters try to suggest, but it is not totally free from the basic unity to which they have drawn attention. In this regard, Travelin is right when he says that history repeats itself and also that history never repeats itself fully. In brief, it can be said that history repeats itself but not partially, not but only partially, not fully. Then another nature of history is that desirability of value judgment by historian. So here every historian given a different opinion about it. That is also very important. There is the controversy whether value judgment are desirable in history or not. Lord Acton thinks that it is not only desirable but also an essential part of a historian's work. Evaluation, assessment, and verdict are all very vital ingredients of a good historical work. Frankie and Bury feels that the job of a historian is merely to reconstruct the past, to present the facts in their naked form, and to serve the historical disinterest. Bury argued the scientific method was retarded by two forces. One was nationalism and the other was philosophies of history. Nationalism introduced a patriotic prejudice, especially for purely political reasons. It depicted certain ages as inspiring and golden periods and other ages as dark periods. The other powerful factor for value judgment was the influence of philosophy on history. Hegel, Comte, Spengler, and a host of other philosophers evaluated history to a very high rank of philosophy. If all doors to interpretations, explanations in inferences and evaluations are close to a history, history would become as dull as they do. History teaches us that good has been rewarded and evil has been chastised. There is no harm in saying this and making comments on it. Action is right in saying that the greatest achievement of history to develop and perfect and arm conscience. However, too much moralizing would also be like all desserts in meal without any cereals or meat in it. But it is equally correct to say that too much interpretation or imposition of value judgment will deprive the history of its basic character. So, some other historians stated that the linear or cyclic nature of history. According to some scholars, historical forces are linear, and while other evidence believe that these are cycling. So, those who hold the linear view, history think it is to be straight line from an unknown past passing through the unknown present to the unknown future. So, according to this view, there is close continuity in history, forward thrust in its movement, never reversing its course. The idea of progress links up the past with the present and gives unity to history, making it a solid piece, as if a steel pipe from one end to another. Then cyclic and progressive nature of history, those who hold the cyclic view that think that history moves in a circle. There is a starting point, then upward movement, then peak stage, then a downward movement and a straight decline and historical process. So this process starts all over again. Hence the cyclic view conforms to the organic view of birth, growth, maturity and decline and downfall and disintegration. This view proposes that all human events occur in cycles. Names, dates, and persons may change, but what happened before will happen again. This view supports the idea of history repeats itself. This theory ruled out the possibility of development and change. Then again, cyclic view of history. Those who hold the cyclic view. Then another thing is that in cyclic view, birth, growth, and decline are there. Then another scholar says is the stated about the nature of history. All history is contemporary history. Corollary to the above concept of repetition, the view is advanced that all history is contemporary history. Proust is strong advocate of history, whereby the past and present are linked in one chain of common process. What is ancient is also modern, and what is modern is also ancient. Agriculture was the occupation of the Indians in the ancient period, just as it is even in the Kautilya and Kalidasas are as much relevant as they are in the past as well as in the present. So Croce of the opinion that all history one supreme spirit, which is indivisible but has four different aspects, namely art, ethics, logic, and economics. This emerges from the basic unity of spirit. The mainspring of all historical forces is this spirit, and as such, all history is contemporary history. Then, Pullingwood also says that history writing is a mental activity in which the historian forms a mental image by his study of past records. Since the historian belongs to the present period and since he is not free from the compulsions of the present age, he injects modern ideas into his study of the past, and thus the past and the present are brought closer together into one homogeneous whole. The message of Buddha, Jesus Christ, or Muhammad or Gandhi will always be as fresh at any point of time as during their days. So they are dead only in the body, but their soul, spirit would always be alive and hence contemporary in every age. History is a dialogue between the events of the past and present. History is a dialogue between the events of the past and progress emerging future events. The historian's interpretation of the past, his selection of the significant and the relevant events, evolves with the progressive emergence of new goals. The general laws regulating historical happenings may not be considered enough. Attempts have to be made to predict future happenings on the basis of the laws. Then the unending dialogue of between the past and the present. A historian is stated by the Iajkar. History is an unending dialogue between the past and present. A history without a problem to solve or a fresh idea to display is a bare chronicle, a sort of catalogue of events lacking in soul and spirit. What gives history real life is the mental activity of historian who possesses a series of questions get an answer. The past is never fully known to us, and every historian attempts to discover a portion of it. Comes closer to reality either by adding new information or by offering a new interpretation. All this involves a very intimate dialogue between the historian who is in the present and the events which are in the past. As objects of the past are not present before him, the adopts of an indirect method, uses his imaginative power, reflects on the subject, and thus enters into a dialogue with the past. The dead data of the past is brought back to life through his distinct, discursive, and discerning power. So other scholars also give an opinion that history to be colored by the current ideas of a country or age. Fifthly, a tendency is that there is a history to be colored by the current ideas of a country of the age. The Greeks emphasized the rational interpretation of the history. The Romans gave a political twist to it. And the church historian made God live in the history. The Germans made it more philosophical. The Marxists more mathematics, materialistic. The French more socialistic, and the British more imperialistic. So every country, every historian put their ideas which are existed at that time in their nations. According to that, they have given the added the history according to country and that age also. The historiography of the Enlightened era, Romanticist era, Positivist era, and Scientific era are all different. The nature of history varies according to the prevailing philosophy of the time, even from historian to historian. A patriot will write a different type of history of his own country that is contemporary who views history purely objectivity. Even in the same country, historical outlook may radically change depending upon social, economic, religious, political changes which may take place in the country and around. Then another view of nature of history is roots of historical phenomena. Attempts have been made to use history as an interpretation of the past with the intention of predicting the future. History in this sense becomes a purpose in reverse, demonstrating the past as a meaningful preparation for the future. Since historical occurrences take place in time and space, the nature of which being one of causal connections, and as its motivating force is the same human nature, it should be possible to make a fair guess of what is in the womb of history. Ever since the rise of Hitler, Churchill went on warning the British government that catastrophe would undertake them if they did not cut Hitler to seize. It did happen. Then all historical events take place at a particular time. But human nature being the same, it can be possible to take a fair guess about the causes and course of future happenings. It need not to be forgotten that historical forces are temporal and material and not physical. Therefore, unforeseen factors contribute to historical events at least to some extent. But such happenings in which unforeseen forces play a major role rarely take place, and predictable and logical causes are usually at the roots of historical phenomena. Then at last we can say that from the above, it becomes clear that nature of history is quite complex. It's repeat itself as well as does not. It is both linear and cyclic. It is an unending dialogue with the past but cannot exclusively and always bind itself. With that, value judgment is unavoidable, but too much of it is undesirable rather dangerous. A historian is required to work and discuss issues taking place, taking time, space, and ideas of the present into consideration, not forgetting that he is discussing events of long past which he was not a witness, and authenticity of what he is now saying in all the cases cannot be verified. So, Namier, a historian, says about the nature of history. Very beautifully, he summarizes it. He says the function of historian is akin to that of the painter and not of the photographic camera, like immediately taken. Painter is slowly doing everything. To discover and set forth to single out and assess that which is of the nature of the thing and not reproduce discriminately all that meets the eye. What matters in history is the great outline and the significant detail. What must be avoided is the deadly morals of irrelevant narrative. History is therefore necessarily subjective and individual. Men want to satisfy their thirst for knowledge of the past. They want to share the pageantry and achievement as well as the experience and to understand better the failure and follies of those who have walked before them. Behind this interest lies main sense of continuity and value of viewing human experience in terms of chronological development. History attempts to be multiple dimensional in its effort to grasp the nature of real history. Then the some other historians also stated about the nature of histories. History deals with the man's evaluation through the time. It's a dynamic nature. History is not just static but dynamic in nature. It traces how humans have advanced through the ages. Study of the present in the backdrop of the past is the result of the present is a result of past. Therefore, history helps us to realize how society has come into existing form. Then others say chronological history deal with a series of events which occurred at a particular point of time. Each event is recorded in the backdrop of the time in which it took place. Then objective by nature. An ideal account of history should be as much as objective as possible. Provision should be taken to prepare the data on authentic sources and make them free from bias interpretation. This helps us in clear understanding of the past. Then multiple dimension. Every aspect of human civilization should be studied under history. History should not be limited to political history or the history of the rulers, but have dominated history for a long time. Proper analysis. The selected events should not be simply narrated, but a proper analysis is required. However, the analysis should be unbiased and free from any kind of influences. Truth and truth alone is required to turn a piece of writing into a historical record. Then the significant history records only those events which are significant in nature. Irrelevant and insignificant happenings of the daily life do not form a part of the history. Consistent and continuous. So history portrays the evolution of human development through the ages. Hence, history is one of the most consistent, continuous processes that have witnessed the journey of civilization. Then the some of the popular quotes regarding the nature of history writing are as a historian has many duties. Allow me to remind you of two which are important. The first is not to slander, second is not to bore. French historian Voltaire stated this. History to be above evolution must stand on documents and not on opinion. So English Lord stated this. Again, the historians have a responsibility to make some sense of the past, not just to repeat it. Then Eliot mentioned this one. Each age writes the history of the past with reference to the conditions uppermost in its own time. The American historian mentioned this. Again, Franklin stated, the writing of history reflects the interest predilections, and even prejudices of a given generation. So here the history, various author given a opinion, various opinion about the history. According to some scholar mention history repeat itself. Some say it's not itself. Some say linear view of history. Some say circle view of history. Some say colors in history, age impact on the period is important. Then some say history is a value judgment by the historian. History is an ending dialogue between past and present. So various author given a different opinion. For more details, you have to refer this book, B. Shekali, History Theory and Method. Then again, the E.H. Carr, What is History? Pullingwood, The Idea of History books also you can refer. Sumit Sarkar book also. So these are the few reference. So